Good morning, Read to Kids. I hope all is well. Welcome to day 2 of our VBS. Today, we're going to talk about a king, hence why I have my fun little crown on today. We're going to talk about King David. Now, I want you guys to think for a second. What do we know about David from the Bible? Okay. We know he was a shepherd. We know that he killed Goliath with a stone, okay, and a slingshot. We know that he was a king, okay? Those are probably the things that we really know. Now, here's a thing that we're going to look at today. From the time that he was anointed king to where he actually became king, there's a lot in that story that happened to David, all right? He was anointed king, he killed Goliath, and then before he actually became a king, he had to run. He was running and hiding, all right? He was hiding from the current king, okay? The current king was named Saul. Saul was a godly king. Eventually, he became not so godly, and God said, hey, you're not going to be king anymore, and that's when David was anointed. Saul didn't necessarily know that David was going to be the next king, but simply Saul saw that David had a lot of favor with people and that he was doing things that were greater than Saul. So Saul was really jealous and really mad, and he wanted to get David. So he was basically sending his people and going after David to kill him. So the story that we're in today is to look at an interaction that happened between David and Saul. And the thing that we're going to take away from this, in order to break out from being ordinary to being extraordinary, we need to learn to walk in love and to forgive. And that's a story that we're going to see today where David walked in love and he forgave. What happens is that we find ourselves in the story today. David is hiding deep in a cave with his men, with his army kind of. They're hiding deep in a cave, hiding from Saul. Somehow, Saul's men, they're looking after David. They step into this cave for a moment to rest for whatever reason. They didn't really know David was in there. And so Saul steps at the beginning of the cave. And David's men are like, ooh, I see Saul there. David, come here. Look, you got to see King Saul. This is your chance to finally get rid of him and to stop you being on the run. And David's like, maybe God did hand Saul over to me right now to take him out. So David goes after and he gets up there and he's about to to kill Saul. And he listens in his heart and he hears God saying, maybe I shouldn't do this. Killing him isn't going to do anything. It's not going to necessarily bring me justice. It's going to keep me from running, but it's not going to bring me justice. All right. So he just basically cuts off the end of Saul's robe and comes back to his men. And then the King Saul leaves the cave. David's men and David come out after him. And David runs up to Saul and says, look, I could have taken your life. I was this close to you. I could have ended your life. But that's not what God would have wanted me to do. And what he did was that he spared Saul's life in that moment. He forgave Saul. Doesn't make what Saul did right, but he forgave Saul because he knew that's what God wanted him to do, and he loved God. David knew that God had a plan for his life, and the way of David actually finally becoming king wasn't to take King Saul out. He knew that God was going to deal with Saul. So that's what today's story is that in order to break out of the ordinary and to be extraordinary, we need to forgive and we need to love, just as we see that King David did with Saul. All right. Once again, guys, don't forget to get out your clue for today, because we're answering the question this week is, what is the ultimate way to escape being ordinary and to become extraordinary? So find your clue for day 3. All right, and then write it on your clue sheet. And then we have 2 more days after this, and then you'll get the final and ultimate answer. All right. Outside of that, guys, I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye.